Today I want to talk about something that I've really been requested to talk about, or something that I talk about in my stories a lot. I often state that I lost 6 years of my life. I feel like I lost them. Maybe I didn't because I mean, every single thing that happens in your life, you learn, you gain an experience, um, you gain a lesson that will help you later in life, right? But for these 6 years of my life, I feel like I cannot really account for them. I'll start with a background about myself. Um, I'm one of those people who people feel like I am too confident. I don't know if there is anything like that. I speak my mind, speak it freely. I go for what I want. I'm a go-getter. I believe in myself. Like I have extremely, like too high a self-esteem, if that's even anything that's possible like that. And I'm friendly, yet I'm not. But anyway, basically, I grew up being very confident and being very outspoken. Now, in 2014, I had a very traumatic experience. Early 2014, I really cannot remember the date anymore, which is a good thing because I used to remember the date and the time. Anyway, no time, no date. I used to remember the date. Um, so 2014, early 2014, I had a very traumatic experience. I don't want to talk about the details. And after this, it's like the Wangeshi I basically knew died on that day, and I became this person over time. I didn't even realize it was over time that I didn't even recognize. So once it happened, I went through a period of, I think it was depression. I never saw a counselor, but I wanted to self harm. For very many months, I couldn't even drive my car because I realized like my heart was hurting so badly that when I would enter a car, or rather when I would drive my car, I would want to ram into like a wall because in my mind at that time I thought if I drive my car into like a wall, my body would hurt and my heart would stop hurting. Kizungu ya Kenya inasumbua. So there is heart, H-U-R, and then there's heart, like roho. Anyway, so when I realized that, I stopped driving, which was a bit hard because now I couldn't leave my house. But now what I would do, I would have to wait for my boyfriend, who's now my husband, to now come take me places if I needed to go places. And then after some time, I realized I have the urge to cut myself again because I want my body to physically hurt so that my heart cannot hurt. Mishika. And then after that, what did I have to do? I had to keep away my knives so that I don't get to that point, which now was hard because now I lived alone and I had to eat, right? Anyway, I went through that. I googled cancelled myself if there's anything of that sort. I was young. I was much younger than I am now. I think I was like 28 years old at that time. And I went through that. I cried a lot. I went through the process of not wanting to drive and having to wait for my boyfriend, now husband, to pick me and take me places. I went through not even being able to leave the house. Too many tears, closed blinds. Like it was such a hard time in my life, honestly. I never felt, or at that point, I never thought I would ever get out of that depressive state. Anyway, time, my husband was very supportive. So at some point, things got so bad. My boyfriend, let me just keep referring to him as my boyfriend at that time. He got so overwhelmed, he had no idea what to do with me. So he called my friend. I use this because she didn't help. He called my friend and he was like, oh, Ange, she's in this space where I have no idea how to help her. So basically, he told her I was suicidal. And she called me for lunch. We went for lunch. I told her all these things, and she never called me again. She never checked on me, never WhatsApped me, never, like, yeah. So I think after that, that friendship was basically over. But it was also a bit of a hard thing for me to realize that I actually really had no friend in that person who I had regarded as a friend for like 8 years of my life. But yeah, so anyway, we went through that. I think somehow I got better. I don't know what point I got better. I started now getting out of the house. I started driving, but still I was so sad. I used to sing this Kirk Franklin song. Imagine me being free, trusting you. Trusting you what? That one. I'm sure you can find it. I used to sing that song and cry in my car. Guy, I used to cry. Anyway, At some point, I was thinking of doing an event. I was going to call the event, was it Chill and Grill? The original one, yeah, Chill and Grill. So I met some guys, and one of them was Big Ted. And they were doing this program called Mizizi with Nairobi Chapel at Pan Africa Hotel. And then they told me about it, and they're like, oh, come, join, join, join. So I joined. And I think we started in August or September. I think it was September of 2014. And that program, I felt like transformed my life at that point. And I got better. I actually got a lot better. And I stopped crying, and I realized that the person who had hurt me, I had put them in a place where only God deserves that space. And I got better, and I stopped crying, and life got better. And I did my first event, Chill and Grill, and it was such a success. It was my first event. I had 700 people come, and I felt very good about myself that year. So from that point, actually, no, what I didn't realize was that now from there things went wrong. I think I didn't realize that until 2020. So now I did Chill and Grill. After that, I got sponsors, a corporate sponsor. The corporate sponsor came in and effed up my event. And in hindsight, I allowed them to. I said at the beginning of this video, I had such high self-esteem growing up and up till 2014 that to me, how can Wangeshi not have high self-esteem? How? Like, that's not even something I could fathom or a subject of this. Like, my esteem would never be a subject of discussion with anybody who knows me. So when this sponsor came into play, they started telling me the way you don't know how to do events. Us guys do events. So they came in with an agency that does the events. And the agency lady was actually my dad's friend. And she's actually the one who told me, you don't know anything about events, as we do events every weekend. And therefore you sit back, we will do the event for you. So remember when they came in, I had 700 people come in who paid, and then there were people who had actually, a lot of people who had given um, free tickets to come as well. So 700 paid tickets. They come in, they start telling me they don't know how to do events, and they tell me a lot. And because my self-esteem is so beaten, yet I don't know, I start believing what they're telling me. And this corporate, actually, the person who contacted me was a friend I had from campus. And he also started telling me how I don't know stuff, and they know, and therefore they will make my event big and they will make me grow because I had no ability to grow by myself. Remember, that's what they're trying to tell me. And with time, I believed them. So I think we did the event with them 3 times or twice. Event one, remember, I keep repeating 700 people. Event two, the people reduced. By the time we finished the last event, we had 40 paid tickets. Imagine from 700, 40 paid tickets, yet they had spent millions on that event. And the first event I ever did, I basically had no money. I got a small sponsorship at the end that I used to pay for sound. Everything else I paid for my ticket sales. Made no money, but I did make a loss, and that was such a fantastic thing. But this last event, after they had told me how much I didn't know, we had 40 paid tickets. We basically had no people at that event, and they had spent so much money. And I honestly really regret allowing that person into my life and allowing him to convince me, and also allowing this other lady from the agency that works with them to convince me that I wasn't good enough to grow my own event. Anyway, that was the first business that really I have nothing to show about. So for those who don't know, before I did motherhood, I did food. So I was a food blogger for quite a long time, and I really, really, really love to cook. And that's even how I still have Mama Modoni Foods. So when I was working for the UN, I quit the UN in 2013. I started a business called Kitchen Dining and Beyond. So even that one was doing very well when I left work. 2014, I think I had gone for more items in Dubai, but also that one for years. For years, I had items in my store. In fact, for those of you who still followed me in 2020, you know I sold them for a throwaway price 2020, 2021. Items that I bought in 2017 in Dubai, like a whole store full of things, I didn't sell them. Like I think most of the things I sold to my friends, but I had over half of the consignment I didn't sell. Like they were just sitting in my store. So Kitchen Dining and Beyond didn't work. And then I thought about a business called Beautifully Plus, which was for plus size women clothing. I used to be very fashionable. I feel like I lost it somewhere in this melee. But also Beautifully Plus, like, oh, my business was doing so well. Like, I couldn't even stay with items. Like, I'd buy, take photos, posts, within a week, they're gone. Take items, Within a week, everything was gone. Like it became now, like things were going, the business was growing faster than I thought. So what did I do? I stopped because I'm undeserving, I'm unworthy of success. So I stopped that business. I started a business for training house helps. I was still single. I stopped that business, I think, in 2 or 3 weeks because of the demand. Like, I started today and I had grown like tenfold within a month and I stopped. Why? Because again, I was undeserving of success. I was undeserving of growing because I had been told so much that you're not bright, you cannot succeed. People much younger than you are going to succeed more than you. I don't believe in you, etc., etc., etc. I believed it over time. And that traumatic event in 2014 really made me believe I was completely and utterly unworthy. Anyway, that is, I think, business number 4. Then I started the African Kaya products in 2015. That is the sauce and the nut butters, which I still sell with Mama Modoni Foods. I started, it was such a success. I grew, I grew, I grew. Within a few months, I was living in Nyayo Estate. My kitchen was too small. I had to move out of my kitchen. I started producing at my mom's house. When I moved to my mom's house, produced, grew. At some point, the orders became too much. What did I do? I stopped because Wangeshi is unworthy of success. Wangeshi cannot succeed. Other people are much better than Wangeshi. So I stopped. And then I got pregnant in the middle of that stopping. I got pregnant. Oh, I got another business as well. So when I was doing the African Kaya products, I was also selling samosas and frozen goods. And all of them was bread because of the frozen breads were doing very well. And then I stopped. Why? One, there was an issue with transportation and the dough would rise as it was being transported. But I just did not have the mental capacity to now troubleshoot and find how am I going to deliver these things. Like I would have used dry ice, would have used a particular Buddha Buddha person and bought a cooler box. Like there are so many other ways of doing it other than stopping. But I stopped. The samosas etc. I stopped. Anyway, got married 2016, moved in. I even got a bigger house. I convinced my husband the way my house in Nyayo was not big enough. I had to move to my mom's house, blah blah blah. Let's move to a bigger house. It has an SQ, it has this. I'm going to do this business here. Never did nothing. In fact, I think that was just now more or less the end of it. I made sauce that year. My sauce is my best seller. By then my sauce is really good. You really need to try it at Mama Modoni Foods. I'll insert the number here, where you can order. Anyway, we made sauce when we moved. When the baby became, I think I sold 40 sauces that year, 40 bottles. And I basically stopped. So Modoni came, I now became engrossed in motherhood. Motherhood is overwhelming, as you all know. That's how I started the Mothership Village. Um, and I just wasn't doing anything. So my viombos had taken one whole room in our house. I wasn't doing it. I wasn't making sauce. I had a jiko, I had a freezer. My mother gave me a freezer, a big ass freezer, like I think it's like 200 or 3, like it's that big. I wasn't using it for what I'm supposed to be using it for. So that was 2017. So remember, after 2014, past 2015, I went and got products. 2015, I also started selling the sauces. As in, all those are businesses that I've started and stopped in like 3 years of my life. 2017, Modoni came. Now I became engrossed. I did nothing that year. I bought Viombos in Dubai. 2017, and Modoni was 3 months old. I came back with so many beautiful, beautiful, beautiful cutlery. Basically, I think I only sold half or less than half of them. The rest of them just stayed in my store for years. I gave them out in 2020, 2021. Sold some, gave out some. 2017. 2018, still did nothing. Got pregnant 2018. I had a hard pregnancy, spent most of my pregnancy for my second child on a couch, did nothing with my life 2018. I don't even remember if I made sauce, and if I made, I didn't sell anything more than 30,000 that year. So that's another year where I'm not earning. 2018. 2019, I gave birth. Now, there's been all these things happening. In 2018 also, I had a very, very, very hard year, especially towards the end of my pregnancy. It had gotten to a place where I was even blaming myself for getting pregnant. I didn't want to be married. I didn't want to stay with people. I kept regretting my life. I missed my single self. I felt like when I was younger, I was this person who I'm not anymore. Remember, I keep saying that people change with motherhood, and sometimes you don't even understand yourself, and you keep mourning the previous you. And if you stay in that place of mourning, it can become like a cycle where you're not appreciating the woman that you have changed into. Anyway, so 2018, early 2019, I'm regretting being pregnant. I'm regretting my marriage. I'm regretting basically my life, like what is going on. I'm asking God why He's giving me all this. I used to get really bad UTIs and yeast infections that would make me really cry from pain and itching. I used to ask myself why I'm pregnant and regret it. And it was so bad. At that point, I started seeing a therapist. So the therapist was like, oh, it seems like you're getting into depression because now I'm blaming myself for everything that seems to have happened in my life over the last, at that point, it was 25 years or something. Anyway, baby came. And baby came, I went into postpartum depression. And that was just like, I think I had held myself together for so long until now I got pregnant and then gave birth. We're going to talk about PPD in the next episode. But basically, there, what I'm showing you is for all these 6 years, the biggest thing was my self esteem took a very big hit. And I did not believe I could do anything. And when I actually did it and it was successful, I stopped because I did not believe I was worthy because I had been told so much that I was not worthy. So if you're in this space, please continue watching and I'll let you know how I actually got into it. Thank you for getting this far. Let's see you in the next episode. I'll be talking about my postpartum depression.